દ્રષ્ટિ દેનારું, પાલે પાલના સંકલ્પ મારા, તું તો છે જોનારો. પ્રસંગ યોજી અનંત રીતે રક્ષા તું કરનારો. આગળ પાછળ ફરતો તું તો સૌમાં તું રમનારો. સહુમાં તું રમનારો. દિવ્ય જીવનના દિવ્ય આનંદમાં નિત્ય નવું દર્શન તારું. નિત્ય નવું દર્શન તારું. ક્રિયા કરતા સેવામાં ચૈતન્ય નવે પરનીરા. મૂર્તિ જાય તેજ દોષ છે, એ જ સ્વભાવ અમાર. સ્વભાવ રૂપી પીરે ચાટપન કારજયો પ્રભુ પ્યારા. કારજયો પ્રભુ પ્યારા. દિવ્ય જીવનના દિવ્ય આનંદમાં નિત્ય નવું દર્શન તારું. નિત્ય નવું દર્શન તારું. આત્મનિષ્ઠા સ્વરૂપતિષ્ઠા સદવમાં આચર રહું. આશિષ એવી આપો સ્વામી, અખંડ મૂર્તિ મારહો. તત્વનિષ્ઠા સ્વરૂપનિષ્ઠા સદર્વમાં આચર રહું. આશિષ એવી આપો સ્વામી, અખંડ મૂર્તિ મારહો. ઉદાસીન કે અતિરેકમાં બોલું ભક્તિ તારી. બોલું ભક્તિ તારી. દિવ્ય જીવનના દિવ્ય આનંદમાં નિત્ય નવું દર્શન તારું. નિત્ય નવું દર્શન તારું. તારી હરી પ્રીત પુરવની નિત્ય નિત્યતાય સવાઈ. દિવ્ય જીવન દેનારા સ્વામી, ગૌણ સ્વરૂપ ઓળખાવી. તારી મારી પ્રીત પુરવની નિત્ય નિત્યતાય સવાઈ. દિવ્ય જીવન દેનારા સ્વામી, ધ્યાન સ્વરૂપ ઓળખાવ. તારા ભક્તોની ભક્તિ કરતા જેવું જીવન વિતાવી. દેવું જીવન વિતાવી. દિવ્ય જીવનના દિવ્ય આનંદમાં નિત્ય નવું દર્શન તારું. નિત્ય નવું દર્શન તારું.
while we are waiting for Dingar Uncle, anyone else wants to sing a bhajan? Kiran auntie? Oh, Ayush wants to sing a bhajan.
સમય પંકજભાઈ શું થયું? બરોબર સરસ લગ્ન સરસ થઈ ગયું. જોઈ ગયો. ગુડ. જય સ્વામિનારાયણ. જય સ્વામિનારાયણ. So, વચનામૃત.
થિંકિંગ લોયાનું ત્રીજું એમાં જે વચન પાડવાનું જે
ઓકે
આવે છે
કોણ વાંચે? સહજ ગુજરાતીમાં. So somebody wants to read before Gujarati or just go English? Eh? Loya 3? Okay. Anybody on the... તમને બધાને ઇંગ્લિશ ફાવશે, સમજાશે? એવરીબડી ઓકે ઇન ઇંગ્લિશ? કે થોડું ગુજરાતીમાં છે પહેલું? પુષ્પાબેન ગુજરાતી થોડું? ઓકે ઓકે ઓકે. સજાનંદ સ્વામી મહારાજ. શ્રીમદ સદગુણશાલિનમ ચિદચિદૈવ્યાપ્તમ ચ દિવ્યાકૃતિમ જીવે સાક્ષર મુક્ત કોટિ સુખદમ નૈકાવતારાદીપમ દૈયમ શ્રી પુરુષોત્તમમ મુનિવરે વેદાંતિકીર્ત્યમ વિભુમ તમૂલાક્ષરયુક્તમે સહજાનંદમ ચ વંદે સદા. સ્વામિનારાયણ હરે. લોયાનું થર્ડ વચનામૃત મહાત્મા જ્ઞાને સહિત નિશ્ચય વાળાનું. લોયા 3. સંવત 1877 કારતક વધી 13ને દિવસ સ્વામી શ્રીજી મહારાજ ગામ શ્રી લોયા મધ્યે સુરાખાચરના દરબારમાં રાત્રિને સમયે ઢોલિયા ઉપર બિરાજમાન હતા અને ધોળી છીટની ડગલી પહેરી હતી તથા રૂનો ભરેલો ધોળો સુરવાળ પહેર્યો હતો અને મસ્તક ઉપર ધોળો ફેટો બાંધ્યો હતો તથા ધોળી પછેડી ઓઢી હતી અને પોતાના મુખારવિંદની આગળ મુનિ તથા દેશ દેશના હરિભક્તની દેશ દેશના સત્સંગીની સભા ભરાઈને બેઠી હતી. તે સમયને વિશે શ્રીજી મહારાજને ભગવાનંદ સ્વામી તથા શિવાનંદ સ્વામીએ પ્રશ્ન પૂછ્યો છે. ભગવાન તથા સંત તેનો જેને મહાત્મા જ્ઞાને સહિત નિશ્ચય હોય તેના શા લક્ષણ છે? પછી શ્રીજી મહારાજ બોલ્યા છે જેને ભગવાનનો અને સંતનો મહાત્મા જ્ઞાને સહિત નિશ્ચય હોય તેથી ભગવાનને અર્થે અને સંતને અર્થે શું ન થાય? એને અર્થે કુટુંબનો ત્યાગ કરે, લોકલાજનો ત્યાગ કરે, રાજ્યનો ત્યાગ કરે, સુખનો ત્યાગ કરે, ધનનો ત્યાગ કરે, સ્ત્રીનો ત્યાગ કરે અને સ્ત્રી હોય તે પુરુષનો ત્યાગ કરે. એમ કહીને પછી આ સર્વ હરિભક્તની વાર્તાઓ એકબીજા કેડે કરી ગામના ડડુરસરવાળા રજપૂત ગલુજી તથા ધર્મપુરવાળા કુશળ કુંવરભાઈ તથા પર્વતભાઈ તથા રાજભાઈ તથા જીવુભાઈ તથા લાડુભાઈ તથા મોટા રામભાઈ તથા દાદો ખાચર તથા બાંચો ભક્ત તથા મૂળજી બ્રહ્મચારી તથા ભુજવાળા લાધીબાઈ ને માતાજી તથા મુક્તાનંદ સ્વામી તથા વાળક દેશનો આહિર પટેલ સામત તથા ગામ માનકુવાના મૂળજી તથા કૃષ્ણજી તથા વાળક દેશમાં ગુંદાળી ગામના 2 કાઠી હરિભક્ત ઇત્યાદિ જે સત્સંગી તેમણે ભગવાનને અર્થે ને સંતને અર્થે જે જે કર્યું તેજને વિસ્તારીને કહેતા હવા. અને વળી એમ કહ્યું છે જેને ભગવાનનો નિશ્ચય મહાત્મા જ્ઞાને સહિત હોય તે ભગવાનના વચનમાં ફેર પાડે નહીં ને જે કહે તેમ કરે. તે ઉપર પોતાની વાત કરી છે. અમારો સ્વભાવ કેવો હતો તો ગોદહન માત્ર એક સ્થાનકમાં
ગોદોહન માત્ર.
ગોહન
ગોદોહન.
ગોદો નથી ને,
હે?
એટલે ગોદો ને ગોહન વંચે.
ગોદોહન માત્ર.
હા, ગોદોહન માત્ર. ઓકે, આઈ ગાટ. ગોદોહન માત્ર એક સ્થાનકમાં રહેવાય.
ગોદોહન એટલે ગાયને દોવે
હા હા.
સવારે, તો સાંજે દોવાની થાય એ પહેલાં ભગવાન નીકળી ગયા હોય.
ઓહો,
લેસ દેન 12 hours.
અચ્છા, વધુ એક સ્થાનકમાં રહેવાય પણ વધુ રહેવાય નહીં એવા ત્યાગી હતા. એને વૈરાગ્ય અતિશય હતો અને શ્રી રામાનંદ સ્વામી ઉપર હેત પણ અસાધારણ હતું. તો પણ સ્વામીએ ભુજનગરથી કઈ મોકલ્યું છે, જો સત્સંગમાં રહેવાનો ખપ હોય તો થાંભલાને બાદ દઈને પણ રહેવું પડશે એમ માયારામ ભટ્ટે આવીને કહ્યું. ત્યારે અમે થાંભલાને બાદ લીધી. ત્યાર પછી તેમણે કહ્યું છે મુક્તાનંદ સ્વામીની આજ્ઞામાં રહો. પછી અમે સ્વામીના દર્શન થયા. મોરે 9 મહિના સુધી મુક્તાનંદ સ્વામીની આજ્ઞામાં રહ્યા. એવે લક્ષણે કરીને જેને સંતનો ને ભગવાનનો એવો નિશ્ચય હોય તેને જાણીએ. અને પછી સુંદરજી સુતાર અને ડોસા વાણિયાની વાત કરી. અને વળી જેને ભગવાનનો અને સંતનો એવો નિશ્ચય હોય તેને તેની કોરનો કેફ વર્તે એમ કહીને રાણા રાજનગરની વાર્તા કરી અને પ્રહલાદની વાર્તા કરી છે. પ્રહલાદ જે તે ઋષિજી પત્યે બોલ્યા છે, હે મહારાજ, હું આ તમારા વિકરાળ રૂપથી નથી બીતો ને તમે જે મારી રક્ષા કરી તેને હું રક્ષા નથી માનતો. ને તમે જ્યારે મારા ઇન્દ્રિયો રૂપ શત્રુના ગણ થકી રક્ષા કરશો ત્યારે હું રક્ષા માનીશ. માટે જે ભગવાનનો ભક્ત હોય તે દૈહિક રક્ષા ભગવાન કરે તેને કરીને હર્ષ ન પામે ને રક્ષા ન કરે તેને કરીને શોક ન કરે અને અલમસ થકો ભગવાનને ભજે. અને ભગવાન અને સંત તેનું મહાત્મ્ય બહુ જાણે. તે ઉપર ગામ કઠલાલની ડોશીની વાત કરી અને આવી રીતનો જે હરિભક્ત હોય તેનો દેહ પગ ઘસીને પડે, વાઘ ખાઈ જાય, સર્પ કરડે, શસ્ત્ર વાગે, પાણીમાં બુડી જાય ઇત્યાદિ ગમે તેવી રીતે અપમૃત્યુએ કરીને દેહ પડે તો પણ એમ સમજે છે ભગવાનના ભક્તની અવળી ગતિ થાય જ નહીં. એ તો ભગવાનના ધામને જ પામે. અને ભગવાનથી વિમુખ હોય તેનો દેહ સુધી સારી પેટે પડે ને ચંદનના લાકડામાં સંસ્કારયુક્ત બળે તો પણ તે નિશ્ચય યમપુરીમાં જ જાય. તો તે નિશ્ચય યમપુરીમાં જાય. એ બેની વ્યક્તિ સારી પેટે સમજે. એ સર્વ પ્રકારની જેના હૃદયમાં દ્રઢ ગાંઠ પડી જાય તેને ભગવાન અને સંતના મહાત્મ્ય રૂપ સહિત નિશ્ચય છે એમ જાણવું. અને એવો નિશ્ચયવાળો જે હોય તે જરૂર બ્રહ્મમહોલમાં જ પૂગે, પણ બીજે ક્યાંય કોઈ ધામમાં ઓરો રહે નહીં. ઇતિ વચનામૃતમ. સજાનંદ સ્વામી મહારાજની જય.
નાવ સહજભાઈ. બેટા આવી ગયા. So what we will do now is, as Sahajbhai reads, we will work and expand on that. Huh? Okay.
Sajjan Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Loyola 3. One with faith in God, coupled with the knowledge of His greatness. On the night of Kartik Vadi 13 Samvat 1877, 3 December 1820, Sriji Maharaj was sitting on a large decorated cot in Shura Kachar's Dabar in Loyola. He was wearing.
Not Loyola, Loya.
Oh,
That's okay. That's okay. I did Baton Rouge like that yesterday, right?
he was
I have a
wearing.
friend who lives in Baton Rouge, and I forgot the name. I said Baton Rouge. Okay.
He was wearing a white dougly made of chin and a white cotton padded serval. He had also tied a white fettle around his head and had covered himself with a white blanket. At that time, an assembly of munis as well as satsangis from various places had gathered before him.
So, this is the first paragraph with the background information. Time, space, description of Bhagwan's dressing, etc. So, how many of you have traveled to Loya in India, Kathiawad? Our Vandan Bhai and Sankal Bhai and Shankar Bhai and Pintu Bhai. તમે બી પંકજભાઈ ટ્રાવેલ તો કર્યું છે લોયા? Yeah. Mhm. Because this time when we went with our Naveen Bhai, તમે નવીન ભાઈ સાથે હતા? So we went to Loya. Maybe we went to Kundad, but not Loya. We went to Kundad, maybe not Loya. Okay. Yeah. But right now if you go, it's a old darbar, and they have kept it normally the way it was before, But at that time it was considered a big darbar, All those kings, they would have a big place. Otherwise, normally other people would have houses made out of grass. They just, stack up the grass, dried grass, and make the roof out of that and all that. That's normal house, And in Gujarati it's called kubo. Kubo. And there is a saying કે કુબામાં હાથી આવ્યો એમ. The big elephant cannot get into a small house, and if the elephant is invited, then elephant has to stay outside, in a small house, because the height of the house would be maybe 5-6 feet at the most, and then they would have grass gathered, so it just shelter, from wind and rain, but it's not perfect, And then the next level was, that they would make out of clay and other, earth related things like maybe stone, or bricks, And these palaces were made out of that, But it was very great at that time, No air conditioning, Today, Shailesh Bhai was suggesting, our Sapan Bhai, that at this Rob Roy Hall we are paying so much rent. He says that why don't you just build around this swimming pool and then have everybody sit around swimming pool, maybe 500 capacity, and devotees will pay the rent here. But then Sapan Bhai came out with some other what if type things, that in winter how do you come? This much of snow and very narrow roads, and car can slid and have a ice skating on the lake. So that's a little bit harder, The other thing is, that how do you heat that whole area, So he was suggesting we can put just heaters like we are putting, in Waukegan when we have function, Then you have this water evaporating, and your own self, and if it is made up of glass, it can be just rain, through the glass, right? So you have to do something there, right? But then more important is, in summer, how do you air condition? Because if it are all glass, all sun heat comes inside and it would be hot. So Shailesh Bhai says, that's okay, We are used to, with heat, summer heat. I say, yeah, you and I can be okay, But how about others? But there was no air conditioning back then in India, Very heat, and still. The good thing is, that they have a lot of open air, so the air can move, and keep house outside temperature, at the most. Even the water, they keep it hanging in the air under the tree, under the earthen pot. And because of this dry air effect, the water gets a little bit chillier. Jasama beta, आओ. So water gets chillier, And for even Kakaji, our bhayo in Vidyanagar, they used to do that way, So that is what the facilities they were back then, But if we go back to those facilities, now here today, that's not enough, right? Anybody would like to have Sabha at 110 degrees? Who would like 110 degrees and have Sabha? Nobody? Raman Bhai. But still, at that time it was working out. Back then there was no such speaker system. And if 2,000 people are gathered, how would a person back at the end would be able to hear what Bhagwan is saying, right? But they were having darshan. They were just seeing God and they were happy. Those who were writing the reports, or those who were more interested, or those who were more respectful, they were coming in the front, And yesterday our Raman Bhai, gave a nice story at Sabha, Friday Sabha, that there was one devotee who Swaminarayan Bhagwan asked to get a barber from his own town and do the shaving, Because the barber who was shaving, he had a heavy hand, and there was bleeding started, on the head of Swaminarayan Bhagwan. So Bhagwan says, maybe I can wait for a soft-handed barber, So one rich guy, he says, I have a very nice barber, but it may take 3-4 hours, before I go and bring him, come back, So Bhagwan says, that's okay. So he went there on the horse, told that barber to come. The barber did not have horse, so barber started having the big, bag for shaving kit and started walking with him. So barber got tired, So this rich man says, okay, give me that on my horse, I'll carry and you go without that bag, And they came to the Gadda, And at that time Bhagwan was having a discourse. And half of the shaved head and without half, Eh? And it was all crowded. So that rich man thought that let Bhagwan finish this discourse, then I will have this barber shave the head, So this barber was also so humble, he did not ask back that, okay, give me my bag. And this rich man had his bag, carried, on his shoulder. And he was standing, back and listening. In the meantime, a sadhu came, a saint came. And he had, done a lot of traveling and then came back, knowing that Bhagwan. That was in Loya? Another town, right? Bhagwan was in another town. Right. There was a little pond, so they did a Sabha there. Right. Right. So there was some saints, they were nearby, say they heard. So one saint came for darshan, And he also stood next to that person. But he was hoping that Bhagwan will call him and give him a seat. And there was no seat arrangement, So rather than sitting down and having darshan only, seeing of God only, he just stayed up, stood up, So Bhagwan knew both of them, But the sant who had come was not sitting down because of his ego, that I am a sadhu and Bhagwan will call me and give me the seat with a respect and whatever because I am going all around. This rich man, he was out of humbleness with serving the God, and he did not want to disturb the God. That's why he was standing there, So when Bhagwan saw both of them, Bhagwan can read their minds, right? What is going on in their mind. So Bhagwan is telling all the other people, that do you want to see the live ego? Living ego? And everybody says, what is that? He says that sadhu, that saint, is a living ego, He is not interested in sitting down, but he is waiting for me to give him something ahead, in front, He is not even seeing that other man who is a very rich man, and he cannot even hold on to this shaving bags of barber, It's out of respect in his town. The barbers would carry 2 nice umbrellas to shelter him for the rain or heat, That is how rich he is. And he is carrying the bag out of humbleness and he is standing there. And he is humble and this is ego. What happened is that sadhu did not take it positively and quit being sadhu and left. His chance was gone. But going back to this description, that in Loya, Samnar Bhagwan was sitting on a large decorated cot in Surakhachar's palace in Loya on 3rd December 1820. Right now we have 2014. So some 150 years ago maybe, something like that. Yeah. Close to 200, right? 196 years ago. He was wearing a white dagli made of chint and a white cotton padded surwal. Dagli means whatever Sapan Bhai is putting on, it's called dagli. White dagli, you know. But chint means some other nice decorated spots and embroidery, you know. It is called chint, you know. With a cotton padded surwal. There was another thing on top of it, you know. He had also tied a white panto around his head and had covered himself with a white blanket. And he had covered because December, a little bit chilly, so he had put a white blanket. At that time, an assembly of munis as well as satsangis from various places had gathered before him. Now, does that picturize a little bit better? Do we know now, how Bhagavan was sitting and how, all people were sitting and all that, right? So, this description is very important to focus ourselves, to tune with where God was, And if we humbly read it with that feeling, then we would get, better vibrations, We will get higher level of understanding. So, thereupon, okay, is that on? Okay.
Thereupon, Bhagavanand Swami and Bhagavatanand Swami and Shivanand Swami asked Sriji Maharaj, what are the characteristics of a person who has faith in God and His Son, coupled with the knowledge of their greatness?
So, there were two saints. They were with Swaminarayan Bhagavan in Loya, that they asked a question to Swaminarayan Bhagavan. Bhagavatanand Swami and Shivanand Swami. And in time of Swaminarayan Bhagavan, there were two saints with the name Shivanand Swami. One Shivanand Swami was Gunatitanand Swami's younger brother. He was also Shivanand Swami. And this Shivanand Swami is elder one, different one, They said that what are the characteristics of a person who has faith in God and His saints coupled with the knowledge of their greatness. So, what are the ingredients, what are the characteristics of a person who has faith in God and His saint? And here the word saint is singular, not plural. So, it is interpreted as Gunaditanand Swami, the highest saint. They may not have said that way, maybe. They may not have meant that way. But they spoke unintentionally that way, So, they said that what are the characteristics of a person who has faith in God and His saint coupled with the knowledge of their greatness? They have the knowledge of their greatness. We all have knowledge and we have all the knowledge with greatness, but even there are levels, Even there are different levels. Even in worldly affair, if I ask everybody that who knows about Obama? Who knows about Obama? Who has heard the name Obama? Everybody, right? But when I ask Ansh, how much do you know about Obama? Have you met him? Anybody has met Obama from here? You were in Washington DC, you saw him, right? Yeah. So did you had a chance to say hello? You waved, right? Yeah. But did he see you when you waved? Okay, he was looking at everybody? And he was looking at a future citizen who would vote for him? So, but everybody have heard about Obama, right? And everybody has maybe seen Obama closely on a TV also, And we consider seeing on TV is very close to maybe 10 feet away or so, if we normally see person, So, even if we assume that we have seen him within 10 feet, right? But how much knowledge we have about Obama, how much greatness we know about Obama, compared to now his vice president. His vice president is Jewish. He's a Jewish guy, right? Right? Yeah. How much would he know Obama, Much more, right? And then how about his own wife? How much would she know about Obama? A lot, right? And his children? A lot, right? So same way, knowing God and His saint so closely is a whole different level, right? So here, these two saints just wanted a answer, of the question, saying that the knowledge of their greatness with God. Now Swaminarayan Bhagavan is answering in a very detailed way. Now this Vachanamrut, back in 1950, in month of April, the 6th date, was recited by who? Anybody knows? I gave you the dates, but I don't know to give the place. 1950, April 6th. Shastriji Maharaj recited that in front of Kakaji and all others. The same Vachanamrut in Bombay. And Shastriji Maharaj took how many hours to finish this? It was not finished, but how many hours before he finished? 6 hours. He took 6 hours to explain this Vachanamrut. And still it was not fully, completely done, because Shastriji Maharaj could say even more, right? So, we are not going to take 6 hours. We'll take less than maybe hour, half an hour, 45 minutes maybe, If you have time, I can do more because there are a lot of different incidences of the devotees. That is explained here. And we can talk and talk, on that, But we will go whatever time we have, So then Swaminarayan Bhagavan, okay, go ahead, beta.
Shriji Maharaj replied, what would a person who has faith in God and his Son, coupled with the knowledge of their greatness, not to do for the sake of God and his Son?
So this is the question Bhagavan is asking. Back to a question. This was the question asked for the saints. That a devotee who has higher level of understanding, how would we recognize a devotee? And Swaminarayan Bhagavan is asking a question, that what would a person who has faith in God and his Son, coupled with the knowledge of their greatness, not do for the sake of God and his saint? That is how the characteristic will be explained. That person will do anything and everything for God and his saint. That's a very big statement, right? What he would not do, he would do everything, right? Even he may be a very down to the earth small devotee, but he will be totally sold, totally dedicated to the God. And when you are 100% dedicated, doesn't matter whether you are a poor person or a rich person, right? 100% is 100%, right? Yeah. I'll give you one example before we go to this, In India, in this 4 months of monsoon season, lot of special programs happens and they do arti at the end of the program, And the person who is talking about the epics like Mahabharata or Ramayana or Srimad Bhagavat or Gita or whatever, people gather, they come in the town. And he would then at the end say Arti, and the Arti is done by those who have raised their, donation amount, And the donation amount starts with 1 penny, and then 2 cents, then 5 cents, then 10 cents, and then quarter, and then $50, then dollar, etc. Back then, $50 was a big thing, in India. So there was a rich person who had said, okay, I will offer 50 cents, But this whole program was offered by another widow lady, And she had agreed to go with a quarter, So she says, I would offer quarter and I would do arti. But this another rich person who was sitting there, he says, okay, if you are raising the price, then I'll go for $50 and I will do the arti. Now this widow felt, that she wanted to do arti, So she says, if that is the case, I'll raise to $1, But I want to do the arti. So now this rich man says, oh, wait a minute, I have decided to do arti. I will raise to $2. So this woman says, I don't have a lot of money, but I will raise to $5. So that rich man says, I'll raise to $10. Now this woman is gathering all these things, what she has, and she says, if that is the case, I'll do $20, 20 rupees, back then, Indian currency. So this rich man says 40 rupees. Now this woman, she was draining all her savings, right? And this priest was sitting there, and he was neutral, But he saw ego ride with this rich man, And this poor woman was stretching her, needs because she wanted to do the arati, So, after the 40 rupees was paid, this woman says, I want to give everything what I own for this arati. My 2 buffaloes, my couple of goats, my house. I want to give everything, but I want to do arati, So now this priest says, that to the rich man, are you ready to give everything you have? And it will not be equal. It will not be equal. I mean, it will be equal. It will not be higher, right? Jasam Narayan. He says that, what can you do more, What can you do more than what she says, Hey, I see a smiling face. So that's what I was counting, that Hina is going to be happy when she comes in. Hey, Hina.
What? Hi.
Jai Swaminarayan.
Hi.
So that was the limit, that people can go, right? Whatever they have, they can offer, right? And there were people, they were ready to do that for God, Yeah. So that is the question that Swaminarayan Bhagavan says, that what would a person who has faith in God and he is saint, coupled with the knowledge of their greatness, not do for the sake of God and his saint? Right? Everything. He would do everything. Okay.
Okay. For them, he would renounce his family, renounce any fear of the public ridicule, renounce a kingdom, renounce pleasures, renounce wealth, renounce his wife, and in the case of a woman, she would renounce her husband.
So this is what Bhagavan has explained, That a person who has total knowledge and faith in God, he would detach himself, he would renounce himself from any, he would renounce his family. He would renounce his family. Renounce any fear of public ridicule. Renounce a kingdom if he was a king. Renounce pleasures. Renounce wealth. Renounce his wife. And in the case of a woman, she would renounce her husband. That is how far a person would do if he has the highest level of understanding of God and his saint. And there are examples, in the past, before Swaminarayan Bhagavan's time also, that people have done that, People have renounced all these things, Even more than that, People had renounced Bharatji, who was the son of Kaikeyi. When he heard that his mother had told for Ramchandra Bhagavan to go to forest for 14 years, he told Kaikeyi that you are no longer my mother. He renounced mother. How about somebody renounce brother? Anybody knows the example? Brother of Ravana, Vibhishan. He renounced Ravana and left to meet with Lord Rama. And then gopis, they renounce their husbands with Lord Krishna, right? And etc. There are so many examples. Mirabai renounced her husband. Right. So, okay, then.
Then Sriji Maharaj narrated the stories of the following devotees: Rajput Golji of
No.
the village,
Galuji,
Galuji of the village
Dadusar,
Dadusar, Kushal
of village Dadusar.
Dadusar.
So there is first story of a Rajput means, from the warriors caste, warriors family. And Galuji story is in chapter 9 in Swamini Vato and talk number 197. Anybody who has in their selection 9 chapter and 197? Anybody has that? કોઈને આવ્યું છે? સ્વામીની વાતોમાંથી? Chapter 9, 197. Okay. So, in that, in Samvat 1918, અષાઢવદી તેરસ, લોયાનું ત્રીજું વચનામૃત વંચાતું હતું. There was, same વચનામૃત was recited in front of ગુણાતીતાનંદ સ્વામી in Gadra, in Junagadh. તે ઉપર ગુણાતીતાનંદ સ્વામીએ વાત કરી. ગુણાતીતાનંદ સ્વામી expanded this વાત that ડડુસરવાળા ગલુજીની ડોશી મરી ગયા. Swaminath Bhagavan had come to this town of Dadusar with all the saints, and this Galuji wanted to invite Swaminath Bhagavan for food and the satsang, the discourses. But unfortunately, his mother died. Now what do you do? In the old time, when a person dies, for 13 days, you don't do anything, You put a pause and take care of all these activities of that dead person, So, his mother died. At that time, Swaminath Bhagavan was visiting that town. So, Galuji wrapped his mother in a cloth, lifted her up to the second story, and stored her and invited everybody at home. Swaminath Bhagavan and everybody. Knowing that nobody knows, right? So I don't want to let this go, right? And gave Swaminath Bhagavan and saints a place to stay, place to rest, and also made food for all these people to feed them for a couple of days, And some people would ask also that, where is your mother? She was around, what happened? And he would say, she has gone out of town. No tears in his eyes. Does not mean that he was not, caring for his mother, but he was much dedicated for God and his saints. So he fed all these people, and then Swaminath Bhagavan knew that she has passed away. So Bhagavan says, now we have to go, because she would decompose otherwise, right? So Bhagavan says that I have to now leave, I have to go. Bhagavan used another excuse that some other devotees are calling me, so I want to go. So Galuji says, please stay. Don't go. Please stay and don't go. But Swaminath Bhagavan says, no, we have to go. So Bhagavan went. So he went together with Bhagavan to the outskirt of the village. That is a normal, respectful manner that a God and his saints, whoever comes, we either give them goodbye outside of our home, or we go to the outside of our street, or we go outside of our town. So he went all the way outside to the town. Then at the end, Bhagavan says, now let us go so that you can finish your work, your duty. So there were people around, when Somnath Bhagavan was telling him that you go and finish your work. So people says, what work, Then Bhagavan says, his mother has passed away since last 3-4 days. And he has not said anything. And now he has to do that. So then he went back home and did all these ceremonies for his mother. Somebody else cannot do that. Right? Because the duties will come in between. Priorities will change. Right? And people would say, okay, Bhagavan can come once more time, but Dosi, she dies once, It does not happen dying over and over, right? But we get purified by the association of a God and his saint. We don't get purified by telling God that please go away, let me finish my duty of my mother. Because God came there, his mother got so many other good deeds, And she was maybe not worthy of to elevate to go to the Akshardham, and because of this, she earned those good deeds, Those who have this kind of matured understanding, their devotion towards God can be considered with the knowledge and higher understanding. Okay, so that was first devotee. Do you remember the name now, Sahaj? Galuji.
Kush, go,
Kushad Kunwar Bai.
Kushak Bai of Dharampur, Parvat Bai, Raj Bai, Jivu Bai, Laddu Bai, Mota Rambai.
So let's start with Kushad Kunwar Bai now. And the story of Kushad Kunwar Bai is from a town called Dharampur, which is near our Laku's place in India. તમે ધરમપુર જોયેલું છે? નહીં. It's near Surat, Yeah. And she was the queen of that town. Normally king rules the kingdom, but her husband had passed away. So she had her son rule the kingdom. Unfortunately, her son passed away. Before meeting God, this had happened. Then she had like a 2-year-old grandson that she made him as the king, but she was managing all these activities. So there is a next story, chapter 9, 198, about Kushal Kumar Bai. Says, જે શુદ્ધ મુમુક્ષુ હોય તેને પ્રગટ ભગવાનના યોગ વગર કેવળ પ્રતિમાએ કરીને કે શાસ્ત્ર શ્રવણે કરીને શાંતિ ન થાય. The one who is elevated aspirant cannot get happiness by just reading the scriptures or seeing the idol of God. That devotee would want to see manifest God or his saints alive to have the communications and discourses. કુશળ કુંવરબાઈ પાસે બ્રાહ્મણ ભાગવતની કથા વાંચતો હતો. So Kushal Kumar Bai had a one Brahmin who was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam at her palace. So there is a story in Srimad Bhagavat about a queen of Lord Krishna who he got married was Rukshmani, and that story was going on. In that story, Lord Krishna traveled around 500 miles to marry with her, from all the way to the west coast to almost to the, Bihar area, where this Rukshmani had written a letter to Lord Krishna that my parents are getting me married to somebody who I don't want to. And I have heard a great story from a Brahmin who had come here for another marriage from your area, and he has told the greatness of you as a god. So I have decided from my heart that I'm going to marry you and nobody else. So please accept my request. And this Brahmin went back and gave this letter to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, being God, knew, that she is an elevated soul, and we have to go there not only to marry with her, but clean up all these evil people, kill all those negative influence. So he went all the way there. And then he sent a message to her that I'm residing in the outskirts of a temple. You please come there and I will take you back to my golden palaces. So she saw that letter and she was very happy. And she came. And there, Lord Krishna held her hand and asked her to sit in the chariot. And then, there they go. Then there was news, and her brothers came to, fight with him and all that. And Lord Krishna, with his power, took care of all of them and took her. But that story has a significance that if a devotee holds the hand of God, if a devotee holds the hand of God, there is a chance of losing the grip, right? But if God holds the hand of a devotee, then there is no chance. So that was the story. Kushal Kumar Bai was hearing the story from a Brahmin, and now a phone call. હા તરુબેન, જય સ્વામિનારાયણ.
જય સ્વામિનારાયણ ભાઈ.
હાજી, કેમ છે ચંદ્રશેખરભાઈને?
ચંદ્રશેખરભાઈને એવું જ છે કે
ઓકે.
પણ અમે આજે એટલો ફરક છે કે આંખ ખોલે છે ને બંધ કરે છે, આંખ ખોલે છે ને બંધ, 3-4 વાર એવું થયું.
ઓકે.
કશો ફરક નથી ને થોડા હાથ પગ મૂવ કરે છે.
ચાલો, સરસ સરસ પ્રોગ્રેસ છે.
હું તમને એક પ્રશ્ન ભાઈ પૂછું છું
હા હા.
કે છે ને જે આનો બ્રેઇનનો બ્રેનમાં જે વેરી સ્લાઇટ જે સોજો આવ્યો છે ને એ કેવી રીતે જાય?
બ્રેનમાં સોજો આવ્યો છે એ કેવી રીતે જાય? અમે તો કહીએ ભજનથી જાય.
હા,
ભજન કરીએ તો જાય, ધૂન કરીએ તો જાય.
ભજન તો આપણે કરીએ છીએ, તમે બી કરો છો, હું બી કરું છું. આ હેમાલી આવી છે જે મારી પાસે, એ પણ કરે છે.
એટલે સોજો જાય.
હા,
એટલે સોજો જાય.
પછી ડોક્ટરો એવું કહે છે કે આપણે કંઈક કરી શકીએ એમ. જ્યાં સુધી કોમામાં છે ત્યાં સુધી કશું થઈ શકે નહીં.
હાજી, ડૉક્ટરને ખબર નહીં હોય એટલે કોમામાં હોય ત્યારે બી ભજન તો થઈ શકે ને.
એને તો હવે ડોક્ટર તો એવું કહે છે કે અમે અમારી રીતે જે થાય તે બધું કરીએ છીએ.
રાઈટ રાઈટ.
મેં કીધું આપણે થોડુંક સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલી આપણે તમે તો કરી શકો, એટલે તમને હું રિક્વેસ્ટ કરું કે તમે કંઈક કરો જેનાથી એનો જલ્દી અંત થાય.
હા, સરસ સરસ. જો આપણે ભજન તો કરીએ જ છીએ જ, પણ આજે અહીંયા આગળ સરસ અમારા બાળકોની શિબિર છે ને એમાં એક વચનામૃત વાંચીએ છીએ. તમારે સાંભળવું છે?
વચનામૃત ચાલે છે?
હા, વચનામૃત સાંભળવું છે તમારે?
હા, સાંભળ્યો.
ઓકે. અને પછી તમે જે સાંભળો એ હેમાલીબેનને
હા.
સંભળાવજો, કારણ કે એ તો
ના, મારે છે ને 2 ફોન છે.
2 ફોન છે.
એટલે હા,
ઓહ
એટલે હું એક ફોન હેમાલીને આપીશ.
ઓહ, તો તમારે તો સારી સગવડ છે.
તમે એને હાલ કરો, હું ફોન આપું.
હા.
જય સ્વામિનારાયણ દયાળુ.
હાજી હિમાલીબેન, જય સ્વામિનારાયણ.
સ્વામિનારાયણ, જય
ચાલો,
સ્વામિનારાયણ.
સરસ. ત્યાં ભજન કરો છો?
લીટર બીટ કર્યું હતું.
ઓકે.
પછી પેલું એક પાણી બી હું લાવી હતી કાકાજીનું, આપણે બાપુ કરે છે ને પેલું.
રાઈટ, પ્રસાદીનું, મા પૂજાનું. રાઈટ.
એટલે પાણી બી એમને માથે લગાડીને ધૂન કરી હતી થોડી
બહુ સરસ, બહુ સરસ. હા,
મોઢામાં તો પીવે નહીં ને અત્યારે.
હા, તે અત્યારે તો ના પીવે. રાઈટ. હા, જો અમે સરસ વચનામૃત વાંચીએ છીએ અને લોયાનું 3જું વચનામૃત છે. એમાં ભગવાનને સવાલ પૂછે છે કે ભગવાનનો ભક્ત હોય એને ભગવાનનો મહાત્મ્ય સહિત નિશ્ચય હોય તો એની કેવી સમજણ હોય. અને ભગવાન કહે છે કે જેને મહાત્મ્ય સહિત નિશ્ચય હોય એ ભગવાન માટે શું ના થાય, બધું જ કરે.
બધું જ કરે. લોચા તો મગન કર્યા જ કરતું હોય છે, પણ
લોચા નહીં, લોયામાં.
ના ના લોહિયામાં એમ હું તો મારું પર્સનલ કહેતી હતી. આઈ શુડ નોટ સે ધેટ રાઈટ નાઉ. આઈ નો બેઝિકલી મન તો હંમેશા લફડા કર્યા જ કરતું હોય છે. લોચા પડે છે ને
એટલે
આપણે વચનામૃત સાંભળીએ છીએ. ઓકે,
હાજી, ચાલુ રાખજો.
હાજી,
હાજી, હું સ્પીકર ફોનમાંથી નીચું કરું છું એટલે તમને બી સંભળાય, બીજા બધાને બી
થેન્ક
સંભળાય.
યુ, થેન્ક યુ.
હાજી, અમારા તરુબેન બી સાંભળે છે ને? બીજા ફોન ઉપર તરુબેન બી સાંભળે છે? હાજી, સાંભળજો. તો ત્યાં આગળ ભગવાને કહ્યું કે ભગવાનને અર્થે અને ભગવાનના ભક્તને અર્થે શું ના થાય. એમાં બધા હરિભક્તોના દ્રષ્ટાંતો દીધા. એક ગામ ડડુસરના સહજ, શું નામ હતું એમનું? વોટ વોઝ ધી નેમ? સહજ, ફર્સ્ટ વન. હાજી, હાજી, સંભળાય છે ને? ગલુજી. એક ગામ ડડુસરના ગલુજી હતા, એમની વાત કરી. પછી બીજા ગામ ધરમપુરના કુશળ કુંવરબાઈની વાત કરે છે. હે? ઓહ, ગુડ બેટા. કુશળ કુંવરબાઈ એમની વાત કરે છે. અને કુશળ કુંવરબાઈ ભાગવતની કથા સાંભળતા હતા, શ્રીમદ ભાગવતની. એની અંદર દસમ સ્કંદની અંદર ઉત્તરાર્ધની અંદર, દસમ સ્કંદ ઇઝ ડિવાઇડેડ ઇન્ટુ 2. ફર્સ્ટ અપ ટુ અબાઉટ 18 years of age of Lord Krishna until he goes to Mathura. And then the other part is, later part, then he has, all these queens that he gets married and other things, So, in the 10th canto, there is a story about Rukshmaniji, the queen of Lord Krishna. એમની જે કથા વાર્તા આવે છે એની વાત કરતા હતા. અને રૂકમણીનો હાથનું કાંડું પકડીને ભગવાને રથમાં બેસાડીને રાણી બનાવી. અને એની સામે એનો ભાઈ રૂકમણીનો ભાઈ રૂકમી બી લડાઈ કરવા આવેલો. અને એ બધાને હરાવી દીધા હતા. અને ભગવાને રૂકમીને પકડ્યો હતો અને તરવાલથી રૂકમીનું માથું કાપવા ભગવાન તૈયાર હતા. તે વખતે રૂકમણીએ બે હાથ જોડીને ભગવાનને પ્રાર્થના કરી કે મારો ભાઈ છે, એને નહીં મારતા જવા દો. તો ભગવાને છોડી દીધો હતો એને. હી વોઝ લેટ ગો. તો એવા રૂકમણીએ ભગવાનની સાથે એવો સંબંધ કર્યો હતો કે જે ભગવાને એનું હાથનું કાંડું પકડેલું. God held her hand, which was a guarantee that it will not be loose. So, Rukmani, relationship with God was so high. So then, Kushal Kumar Bai is telling this Brahmin that you have been reciting this Bhagavad Katha for many, many times. And the story of Rukmani and Krishna Bhagavan has come many, many times. But you will not get liberated until you are held by Lord Krishna's hand. And I will not get liberated until I get held by Lord Krishna's or Bhagavan's hand, So, please find a God who can do this for you and me. Otherwise, I will keep paying you for your daily expenses and I will be listening to you, but we will not elevate to the higher level. We need God. And then what happened? Because of this intense prayer, there was another incident happen, That there was this, okay. Oh, there. Yes, sir. Or bijo phone? Oh, okay. Rama Swami ની વાતો નહીં હોય ને બેટા? છે સ્વામીની વાતો? Okay. So, yeah. There was a saint by the name Param Chaitanyanand Swami. And he was from northern part of India. And in his temple, a sadhu of Swaminarayan Bhagavan visited. And he was doing Swaminarayan. And all of a sudden, he saw a big light in his temple. He had never seen the light. But just because of this chanting, he saw whole temple filled with the divine light. So then he went to this person saying that, what are you chanting, This is something unusual, that I see whole temple filled with light. And my thoughts, negative thoughts are gone. So what are you chanting? Then he says that I'm chanting the name of God, Swaminarayan, who is alive in Gadada. So this Param Chaitanyananda Swami decided that I want to go and meet him. I want to see him. So he told his other second and third level people, that look, there is a God in Gadada and I'm seeing a big, positive environment. So I am giving you this thing to handle and I'm going to join with him. So those people says that what is our intention to become a renunciant? We have become renunciants for the same purpose that you are going, We don't have attachment, We want to join with you. And he says, if you join with me, fine, join with me. Then he went to the next level and next level, Then until somebody said, okay, we will take care. He went with 200 of his followers, and came to Swaminarayan Bhagavan and met Swaminarayan Bhagavan and decided to be his sadhu. And his name was given Param Chaitanyanand by Swaminarayan Bhagavan. And then there was building of this temple activities and similar example that Raman Bhai just mentioned, that one time he came also and he was looking for a respect. And Swaminarayan Bhagavan says, this is a live ego, as Param Chaitanyanand Swami. And he felt bad, and he started walking away from that assembly. So when he walked away, about 40, 50 of his closer associates also walked with him. And then he walked for maybe 3, 4, 5 hours in the summertime. Then he was thirsty, so he found a well. There he stopped to get the water from the well. And they used to keep a pot with a string. They can dip it and get the water. And then he saw there were 30, 40 people with him, behind him. Until this, he was in his own thinking, He was not thinking that who is with me, And then he told that, why are you all with me, What are you doing with me? They said that you were unhappy, you were upset, so we have come with you. And we will join you. So he says that you please go back. The real liberation is there in Gatada. I have hurt my ego, and because of that I have quit. But what is problem with you? You go back. So then they came back, And then one of the leaders saint told Swaminarayan Bhagavan that Param Chaitanyanand Swami has left. But these people who were with him, they have come back, and we asked them that what happened to Param Chaitanyanand Swami, and Param Chaitanyanand Swami said, that to these guys that you go back, that is where the liberation is, So Swaminarayan Bhagavan says, that man, even though his ego was hurt, is the real elevated soul. And these people are like ships following the herd, So they have come back, but the value goes to still that man. And this was all plan of Swaminarayan Bhagavan, that if he goes from here, then goes to this Dharampur, then meets with this lady, queen, and then starts the, whole process. So Swaminarayan Bhagavan goes there, to fulfill her inner desire for Bhagavan to come and hold her hand, So there is a long story, but eventually, well, it's getting close to 8 o'clock. So, kitla vage puru karu beta? 8 vage? 8 vage pachi. So, thadni tayari karavdo beta. So, this Param Chaitanyanand Swami walks all the way from Gatada, about couple of 100 miles, and ends up in a inn, a place where in the old time the kings used to have a house built for the travelers for free. And the queen would go there and give them some food, like rice or wheat for them to cook the food, or the flour if they want flour, or vegetables if they want vegetables, So she was going a person to person in that travelers inn. And whoever she gives the grain, she would want the blessings from that saint or from those holy people by touching the feet. And that is how she was going. So here, Param Chaitanyananda Swami is seeing that this woman is coming and I have a vow to not to touch woman. So he slided himself from the line and loudly said that I am the sadhu of Swaminarayan Bhagavan. I am not supposed to touch the woman or women. And Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan. So when he slided back and when he heard this Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, enlightenment happened within herself. Some different feelings. And she stopped. She says, I have never heard somebody saying that I belong to so and so and I'm not supposed to, woman is not supposed to touch me. Everybody is okay, you are different. Not only that, but when you are saying Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, a different feeling comes within me, Eh? Something different happens within me, So tell me about who you are and who is this Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, So he says, I am not supposed to talk in front of you, But if you make the arrangement to put the, curtain in between us, then I can talk. So then she says, is that okay if you come to my palace and we can arrange there? He says, yeah, that's fine. I can come. So among all these people, this is the selected one. And how he is taken to the palace? She goes to the palace and tells the minister that take the garlands, take the other ornaments, other gifts with an elephant and give him a ride on elephant with an honor to come at our palace. Just by saying Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan. So then he is given this ride and comes to the elephant, on the elephant, to the palace. And then they have curtain, and then he talks about all these incidences and stories of Swaminarayan Bhagavan's time, and she becomes so joyful and so happy, so that she says that, can you do something, I want to see Swaminarayan Bhagavan. But he cannot say that I have hurt my ego and I have decided not to go there. How can I bring you? How can I bring Swaminarayan Bhagavan here? So then another incident happens, that some other saints who were traveling there also were going through this town. And what is the name of the town, Sahaj? Starts with D. Dharampur. Dharam means dharma. Pur means kingdom. The kingdom with good virtues and good qualities called Dharampur. And there were saints who visited that. Every day this saint goes on an elephant, circles the whole town, with a good omen. So one day he was circling and the saints came, they saw Param Chaitanyananda Swami on the elephant. And this saint was a leader saint, Muktanand Swami. Seeing on the ground. Param Chaitanyananda Swami saw him, he saw Param Chaitanyananda Swami, their eyes met. Param Chaitanyananda Swami respectfully bowed down, told that guy to lower the elephant. He lowered the elephant, went to Muktanand Swami and says, where are you? How come you are here? And he says, well, we are here, So then he says that please ride on this elephant and come to the palace. Muktanand Swami says, I don't have any okay from Swaminarayan Bhagavan to ride on elephant, so you go ahead and ride, but I will walk. So he said, no, I will walk also then. And then they came back. And when they came back, then this Kushal Kumar Bai is talking to, Param Chaitanya Swami is talking to Kushal Bai saying that this Muktanand Swami can pass the word to Swaminarayan Bhagavan that maybe he can come. So then she made a request to Muktanand Swami. Muktanand Swami comes to Gadada and tells that there is a high elevated soul, a queen, wants to meet with you, have your darshan. So whenever, if you want to, Swaminarayan Bhagavan says, let's go now. And then they left. And there she came, Swaminarayan Bhagavan came and she bowed down so many times, 30, 40 times, she would not just stop, bow down. So finally Bhagavan held her hand and says, it's okay. So there is more to that story, but Annam chaturvidham swadu rasai shadvi samanvitam bhaksha bhojanam samayuktam naivedyam pratigruhyatam Om Shri Akshar Purushottamay Bhakta Mandal Sahitai Naivedyam Samarpayami Mare Gher Aviya Chogla Dhari Mare Gher Aviya Damna Dhami Ladu Jale Hasuwadi હું તો ભાવે કરી લાવ્યો છું ગારી માં